So I need to count the occurrences of anagrams. So I'm given a word called pattern PAT and the text called TXT. I need to return the total count of occurrences of anagram of the words. Okay. So for example, over here we have got pattern PAT as FOR. However, the possible anagrams could be 6. Okay, so this could be FRO or maybe ROF, and then comes ORF. Okay, similarly we would have two more. So I need to tell, so if the out of these how many are present. So as you can observe over here we have got FOR, ORF, and then comes OFR. So in total we get 3 anagrams. So how do we solve this? So over we have got F O R double X O R F, then comes X D O F R. Okay, so I create my answer variable as 0. Okay, and I put my I over here as well as J over here. Now my n, that is the size of text. Okay, so my n would be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. My n is 13 and my m would be the size of pattern. So this is 3 over here. So my first step would be to create a vector. Okay, that will store all the elements. So initially what I do, I create a vector. So this vector is like F O R, and this F. So and I iterate over PAT and I increment. I initially set the vector to 0, and if I see any character I increment to 1. So this is 1, O is also 1, and R is also 1 in my pattern. Okay, now what I do, I go for ARR of text of. Now I go here and I see, so I see a F over here. Okay, and I need one F, one O, and one R. Since one F is already found, I decrement this 1 over here to 0. Okay, post that I check if the size of J minus I plus 1 is equal to M. So over here this is not true. Okay, so what we do, I increment my J. So my J moves from here to here. So now I see a O. In that case I need only, so I already found one O, so I decrement the count of O over here. So O goes from 1 to 0. Okay, post that I check if my size of J minus I plus 1 is equal to M. Over here it is 2, which is not true. So I go ahead, I increment my J. So my J moves from here to here. Now I have found a R, so I decrement the count of how many R's do I require. So I do this as 0. Now I check is the size of J minus I plus 1 is equal to M. Over here M is 3, which is true in this case. So I go and check if all my elements in the vector are 0. So over here I see all my elements in the vector are 0. Okay, this and this. So I update my answer. So my answer goes from 0 to 1. Post that I increment my I. So my I moves from this place to this place. Okay, and since I have removed F, the counter, the required number of F would be 1. So I increment F to be 1. And then again I increment my J. So my J moves from here to here. So I check again, and since I have found X, and since I have found X over here, so assume somewhere in my vector I would have X. So I put this as -1 since it was 0. Okay, now I check, is the size equal? It says yes, the size is equal. Now I check my for, are all elements 0? So it would say no, all elements are not 0. So in that case I increment my j. I increment my I as well as j. So when I increment my I, it moves from this position to this position. Since I lost one O, I need one O back in the so I increment this in to 1 over here, and then I increment my j. So my j moves from this position to this position, and my I found a x. Okay, so this my x goes from -1 to -2. Similarly, when I will iterate and when my j will be less than n, I will be able to find all occurrences of the anagram. For here for I will find, orf I will find, and ofr I will find, and I'll return answer. So over here I create my search function, which will take pattern as a string followed by the text also as a string. Okay, then I do return an integer. So now I say let my answer be 0 and let my I also be 0. Okay, similarly I could say for j. Now I find let n is equal to txt dot length, and similarly let m is equal to pattern dot length. Post that I create a arr vector, okay, which is all initialized to 0, and it is of size 27 just for safety. Okay, now I say for ch in pattern dot bytes. Okay, so I'm able to extract each character. I do arr of this would be ch minus byte of a. I do this plus equal to 1. Okay, so after coming out I say let my text bytes is equal to text as bytes. Okay, I run my loop while j less than n. In this case my first step would be to decrement what I have found. So this will be arr of text underscore bytes of j, and this minus with byte of a. So I do minus equal to 1, and if my j minus I plus 1 is equal to m, in that case I call my solution, I call my helper function. Okay, so I send this vector arr. If this returns true, in that case I update my answer with 1. Otherwise, if this is not true, then no, after coming out of this if condition, I do text of bytes of I minus byte of a and I do I plus equal to 1, and then I move my j pointer j plus equal to 1. So after coming out from this loop, this while, I return my answer. Okay, now I need to write my helper function. So this over here will be my helper function. It will take arr So this is vector of type I32. It will return me a boolean, and I do for and x that belongs to ARR. If my x not equal to 0, in that case I would return false. If all are 0, then I would return true.